about how we're going to have that muscle cell, aka fiber, all right? It has its neuromuscular junction. For every muscle that we have, there's a nerve that's going to innervate it, and then that nerve begins to branch to each of the fibers. And when we get an action potential, that action potential, if we get enough stimulus and if it is strong enough, we're going to get that muscle to contract, right? So we left off yesterday, and one of the things that I've mentioned is the recruiting of a motor unit. What was a motor unit? Or the motor end plate?
And all the muscles
A neuron and the muscle that it innervates, that cell, that fiber, okay? And so if I can recruit more of those, I'm going to add, right? And then there would be summation, all right? And if we get it, enough of it, if it's strong enough, we're going to see that entire muscle contract, right? So we left off talking about stimuli. One of the things that we mentioned is a stimulus can be given, but it's not strong enough to reach threshold. And if you remember, one of the things we've got to do, we've got to reach threshold, correct? Because if we can reach threshold, and if we can do that in enough fibers, then we're going to get muscle contraction. So our stimulus could be the submaximal. We could have it at threshold. We can actually go above threshold, all right? That maximum stimulus. If it goes into something that's above the maximum, remember, the only response we can get is what the muscle can give at maximum. And if we're giving it past maximum strength, chances are, well, it's not. That muscle is only going to respond at the maximum amount. And anything above that is going to be a painful stimulus, okay? So, in this summation, the recruitment, the summation, okay, when we can have a stimulus, because do you guys remember me talking about how the stimulus is graded? Comes in, and then we have to add some more. We have to keep the stimulus coming. We add, okay? Remember, the graded response. When we have that type of stimulus move in, and we're going to find that the muscle, if it's been at rest, like for example, right now, for each of you, your gastrocnemius is at rest. Okay? But at break time, okay, that you're already thinking about, all right, even though the muscle's been at rest, we'll start getting that stimulus. And that stimulus will come to it in a graded fashion. It'll start out at a little bit of stimulus, we'll get more of the stimulus come in, and then we'll get the strength of that stimulus where it can't go any further. When we talk about this stimulus coming in, and your gastroc will start moving, and you'll get to get up from your chair, and you'll get to go out, okay? This is termed TREPI. Do you happen to know what TREPI stands for? Staircase. It looks like a staircase. So your leg muscles, all right, they will be at rest. They'll get their the stimulus, okay, to the point where we're going to have that muscle that had been at rest. We're going to find that we'll start the stimulus. The stimulus will start a contraction, but the contraction, the stimulus that continues to come and continues to cause a contraction, it'll create it to be the strength of the contraction will get stronger. than the ones that were before it. This will tell us, or this will allow for each contraction that follows to occur with a greater force. So if you think about it, if you go from sitting for a long time where your leg muscles are not at rest, okay, you go from that point to the point that you're going to get up and start running a race, okay, each time that contraction's going to get stronger, frequency will begin to increase also, okay, but what it does is it does it in a staircase fashion. So the muscle, this is what happens in muscle that has been at rest. We have to kind of make it wake up and get started.
So when you get in like your groove when you're running, are you at maximum stimulus
Yes.
with the muscle?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the reason for the muscle at rest, okay, that's going to get started, it could be that the calcium stores, maybe the calcium stores are a little bit better. Maybe they have a little more storage in that reticulum, okay? Now, why would this process be important? Why is it important for that muscle that's at rest to kind of be woken up? Because you're going to take a muscle that's been at rest and that muscle is cold. And when I say cold, that means it has not been working, it has not been generating heat. So you're going to take a muscle that has been at rest and you're going to wake it up. Why is it important that it's done in this staircase effect? That it doesn't just automatically go to the highest step.
Kind of like when you warm up before a big workout.
You're warming up. Why is it important to make sure we warm up the muscles?
So you don't hurt yourself.
No. So that we don't hurt ourselves and
Reduce the shock of just the instant. Like the cells might not be able to. They might react differently when you just all at once take
okay.
it to the highest level.
There's not
So if
enough
we
stuff
think
in
about the
storage.
cell and if we think about not hurting ourselves and do what, Morgan?
There's not enough in storage right now because it hasn't been being used.
Well, now it could have the stuff stored. Like it could have the calcium stored. It could have the glycogen stores to produce the ATP, okay? But you take a muscle that's cold and you put it into full use like that. What can you kind of do to that muscle? Which we could pull it, we could tear it, we could injure the muscle. So this, I guess, control that we can see, all right? Having the little bit of the stimulus come in, get a little bit of a contraction, take a little bit more, get a little bit stronger contraction, take a little bit more, get an even stronger contraction. What you're doing is you're allowing for a warm-up time. And that is beneficial to skeletal muscles. I don't know about you guys, but one of the things that I like, a good example, remember that really cold spell that we kind of had where the weather was really cold, okay? And one of the things that I tried to do was I tried to do my morning walk out here on the parking deck. Now, that's pure concrete. Concrete retains the cold, retains the heat. So from the top floor, as I began to go down, that means each floor got colder and colder and colder. I actually felt the muscles tighten. I guess I kind of pay attention to that since I teach what I teach, you know. And I was like, I know what my body's got to do to try to warm this up. I'm not doing this. And I went and got on the elevator. So, you know, it's like, it's an important way to protect the muscle, if you think about it. So, what we are dependent upon, okay, if we think about a contraction, we are dependent upon what is going to be the frequency of that stimulus. In some of the muscles of the body, we can handle a constant stimulus. In some muscles of the body, not quite so. For example, right now as you sit, okay, you're being given the ability to keep your back upright, okay? Those deeper muscles of the back are getting pretty much a constant stimulus. But these bigger muscles to the outside, the ones that are more superficial, they're not. If you try to give them a constant stimulus, they're going to give out. All right? So we're dependent on the stimulus and how quickly it's coming in. If we get the frequency of that stimulus, if that begins to increase, well, the frequency at which the muscle is going to contract will increase. If a muscle fiber gets to relax between contractions, this is incomplete tetanus. I forgot to look that up last night. Went home with it on my mind, turned on my computer, went to the internet and still forgot. Hopefully I'll be able to get to a website today.
Okay.
If not, I'll look it up on my phone. So, what did we say tetany was?
The muscle doesn't
A constant contraction of that muscle. All right? But if the muscle fiber, note right here, relax, contract, relax, contract, relax, contract. That muscle fiber is getting to relax between each contraction. Okay? This is incomplete tetany. Over here, if we begin to look at this one, right here, contraction, did it get to go all the way to its resting membrane potential? No. But now I did get something of a relax, not the full relax, okay? Contraction, 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 contraction. They're coming a little more frequent now. They're not allowing that muscle to fully recover. I'm still in incomplete tetanus. Over here, what's happened to my frequency? It's increased even more, so I'm getting even less recovery time. Now, I'm still, however, in incomplete tetanus. But note this one right here. My muscle begins to contract and it doesn't stop. This one, tetanus, complete. There is no relaxation between those contractions taking place in that muscle fiber. Nothing, okay? That muscle stays completely contracted. Now, look what gets to happen. We mentioned motor recruitment, where if we add, And if we add, we get to sum. What do you see right here?
All the motor neurons are at work.
Well, for this one, the frequencies and other